All right, guys, welcome to the broadcast. Today we are on a driveway project, and I've had just untold numbers of people wanting me to tell them how to bid projects. So I'm just going to do this as a run through, and it's going to be pretty well uncut. You know, I'm going to do a little bit of editing, and you know, I'm just going to go through every single aspect of what I'm looking at. You know, driveway repairs, it seems like, is that little service that everybody first gets into when they want to get into excavation and grading. It's simple. It's pretty low cost to get into. You know, your basic tools that you're going to end up needing are, you know, a tractor with either a scraper or a box blade, which you can get, you know, you can do this stuff with a little 25 horsepower tractor, and you get you a dump truck to haul your materials. You're going to need to be able to haul gravel, road bond. Till then you can sub it out. But you know, this bid is going to be based on if you own your own little dump truck and it's paid off, okay, and you own a little tractor, it's paid off. Same way I started out, you know. And a lot of you guys watching these videos, you know, guys who are experienced in this stuff, you know, they don't want to know how to bid. They already know that. But you guys who are just starting out, bidding can be the most aggravating part of it, because you'll be wondering, why am I not getting picked for the job? You know, why is it my prices, you know? And the biggest thing is to figure out your costs and, you know, just basically what you need to make to exist until your name gets out there for performing good work. And that's when you become in demand and you can start scaling up and charging a little bit more. First thing you're going to need, you can get these at any hardware store, okay? Number one, this is your measuring wheel. It's a simple little tool. Some of them have a bigger wheel, which is good for muddier driveways. I like this little guy because he's compact. It's got a little dial here, and when you're wheeling it along the ground, it's measuring to the 1/10 of a foot accuracy. One thing this is important in the bidding process is that when you get out with a tool like this, they know you're going to take measurements. It looks more professional, and it's going to give you more confidence in being able to figure out, you know, how long the driveway is. And the biggest expense is how much material you're going to need. I'm trying to enunciate. I know I'm a hillbilly doing my best. So I've found that this one's a good one for me. Again, you know, it makes you look professional. And, you know, you can't look at a road when you're first starting out doing this stuff and say, that's 450 feet long. I've walked this road, and I can tell by looking at it, it's going to be about 500 feet that's going to need material to some degree, okay? So let's just go ahead and hop right into it. And, you know, I'll get you guys off the stand. I'm going to carry you with me, and I'm going to show you every single thing I'm looking at and taking into consideration in this bidding process. So let's get started. Actually, I'm going to leave you on the tripod, because as I'm walking through this, you know, I'm probably going to have to set you guys down and, you know, show you what I'm measuring. Okay, number one, we start at the pavement, okay? Start your wheel at the edge. You don't want to cheat yourself, okay? As you can see here, hopefully that's not, there's a good drop off, and I can tell that there's washing along this road, and the customer also mentioned this. So the only way to stop this is to either do a concrete apron, which is out of budget. The only other thing we can do is put enough material down to build this road bed up to where it's a little higher than the pavement. In this case, it's okay, because most of the water, I was here when it was raining the other day doing another project, and the water is just sheeting straight down the road. So we're not doing anything to, you know, necessarily keep water off. We want to stop it up there at the corner so it bumps, runs into the culvert. So that being said, we've got to raise this road bed up approximately. You can see that there's about a 2-inch drop here. We need to raise it up about 3 to 4 inches, so we need to figure a 3 to 4 inch rise in material, okay? So we're resetting the wheel, bump, just like that. All right, now we're just gonna start walking our little wheel up through here. I'm doing the best I can to make good videos for you guys, and I want y'all to be informed, but, you know, I'm just doing the best that I can here. Okay, right here. Number one thing I'm looking up, we got utility lines that run up the side of the road at this point. There's a good chance they'll cross over sometime, so we need to be sure that we can get under them with the dump truck. This will come into play here in a little bit. But as far as right now, you know, the road looks pretty smooth. Luckily, when I was here when it was raining, there's water coming down each track where the tires are. So as I'm walking up through here, I'm going to be looking at that dip, you know, between the crown of the road and the edge. Okay, we need to be able to raise up those travel paths to be high enough to where when we shape this road, that water's going to run off either side. I know it sounds like a whole lot, and you know, even as I'm saying it sounds like a bunch of BS, but as you get into this stuff, you're going to learn that it does make sense. So let's just continue our little travel way here. And I'm just measuring along. Okay, this road is not in terrible shape, but with water traveling down it, it's not going to take long before it does start to erode worse and worse and quicker. So it's definitely most cost effective for the customer that they did call us to go ahead and get this fixed up. All right, we stop here. Let me get you guys off here and set my little thingy up here. All right, here's our evidence. We got mud coming through, so we know that there's not, you know, a whole lot of good material there. Let me get my stick. All right, you guys can see, we'll have to come up at least 3 inches there. All these factors are important. We've got a good ditch line. We cleaned that out the other day. But we've got to raise this road bed up 3 inches. So let's get back on the stand here. And continue on measuring. Right now we are at 142 feet. So let's just keep on trucking. I love doing this stuff, and I started out doing driveways, and it really is one of the best services to start out because it's low end, you know, it's fairly cheap to start up as far as your costs getting old and out of shape. See, here we got another spot that we're getting down to bare ground. So we're gonna keep on going. For the most part, this road looks good. All right, here we got some lower limbs, but they're small limbs. So we should be able to raise the dump truck bed up, and just, those will just brush around beside it. We just gotta be sure to tell the customer that there's probably gonna be some limbs getting broke here, and we are not liable for it. As long as they're okay with that, when we get to go ahead, we'll be good to go. All right, let me show you my messy culvert repair I did here. All right, here's another. We've got utility lines, and my dump truck will just barely go under them with the bed down. So that tells us this area right here, starting here, all the way around through this curve, I'm not going to be able to tailgate it. That's important because it takes a lot more time to dump it out and spread it with a machine than it does to raise that bed up, tailgate, and run with it. So probably one load we're going to have to spread. Now here we got a major erosion issue. You can see where it's cutting. Okay, so we know water is channeling down this road somehow. Now this road's in good shape, but still water's able to get organized. And it's trying to cut across here. What we want is for it to come along this side. So I'm gonna have to finish cleaning that ditch line out. And really there's a decent little ditch in here, but I gotta get my backpack blower and just blow those leaves out of it. Again, this road looks fine. I cleaned this edge, and it was raining, and you could actually see the water just going over, channeling down the side like it's supposed to. Now here's where the issue was that I saw the other day. This neighbor has got water coming down their driveway, and it's channeling right down this path here. So even though this road looks good, it's not shaped good, and it's causing a problem farther down the line. So we're actually going to figure for maybe 2 to 3 inches of road bond all the way from here down. That way we can dome shape this road. And as that rain falls and water comes down through here, it's gonna be kicked off to the sides. Sorry about being squeaky. I still got the plague, but it's about out of there. All right, so we're gonna get it, this road bed, shaped correctly. We're gonna blow these leaves out. All these are factors of time, work, equipment, and material that has to be taken into consideration. You believe I didn't take my wheel up there with us to measure that? That's about typical. About typical. See, I got distracted. It's your fault. Your fault, not mine. All right, so I'm gonna grab my wheel. Oh shoot, I might as well just keep you guys with me. Save. All right. Now again, I'm betting this is about 500 feet. Grand total for everything. Now when you're measuring these, okay, go to the outside of every curve. That's your longest distance. If you cheat yourself and cut to the insides of the curves, you're gonna come up short on footage. It may not be a whole lot, but if you're fixing a driveway that's a couple of miles long with a whole lot of curves, well, you're out of luck. So we're coming up. Oh, Toddy's gonna be close. Was America's favorite hillbilly right? Let's see. 501 feet. And no, I did not measure this before. I am just that good and my life is that boring that I love this work. And I tend to be pretty lucky. Okay, here's light. So, all right, we got 501 feet. Now comes the fun part. Let's figure up the dollar bills and how much this job is going to take to do and what we're going to charge to do it. All right, so we got 501 feet. We're done with this tool. The 750 is doing good, by the way. We have got some of the bugs worked out of it, so we're done with that. Okay, now we need our pen and paper. I don't have a fancy, you know, proposal book. Old school. And the most important asset, coffee. All right, so now that we've got our numbers, here, look up here, pay attention, I say. All right, what are some of the factors that we're going to incur? At this point, the next thing that pops in my mind is how far are we from the yard? How far are we going to have to travel to haul machinery here, and how many times? Okay, for this part of the project, I'm just going to need the tractor and box blade. It's a light load and it's not far, okay? I like to use MapQuest. You can use Google Maps. Let's see here, okay. So let's see here. How far is it to whom? Let's just see. Okay, we're 8 miles. About 15-minute drive, 12 minutes by car, 15 minutes by truck. Let's face it, it just takes longer. Okay. One thing I go over in my mind, excuse me, is my time loading equipment. You know, it's not something that customers think about as being part of your service to them, but do yourself a favor. Don't work for free, okay? So let's just say you've got 15 minutes putting the machine on the trailer, securement, getting here. You know, just figure an hour. You know, you've got an hour in time getting ready and getting here. Okay, now when the job's over, you know, you can choose whether you want to charge us, you know, add an hour in there for getting home. You know, I mean, or is it because of you that you're having to haul a machine back to the yard, or is it because the customer asked you to come to their, you know, project, and because you're on their project, you've got to get home, you got to get fuel to get there, you know, use your judgment on that. Me personally, the way I judge my time is from the time I get in the truck in the morning or I get to the truck. Let's say that. When I get to the truck and I start doing stuff to pursue someone's interest, when I'm doing stuff to make things happen for my customer, I'm charging for it. And I've got time figured in for it. Okay, so this job right here, we are going to be quoting the job. I'm going to give them a price that I say, this is what I can do. This is how much it's going to cost. And I will guarantee that the job will be good. It will be done. And you will not have a problem with it for, you know, a reasonable amount of time. You know, you can't, you know, when it comes to driveways, you can't predict the weather. You can't predict how people are going to drive on it. You know, now this driveway right here has got a slope. Look up here now. It's got a slope to it. So a 3/4 wash stone is not going to work. We're definitely going to have to do road bond. And sorry, I'm kind of jumping back and forth here. I'm doing the best I can, but that's what happens when you go unscripted. Okay, so we know I know that I've got an hour of working time getting to the job, getting back home. That's 2 hours. All right. So what I do is I use the calendar on my phone. And I use the notes section, you know, to make my list of charges. Okay, 2 hours. All right, now the next thing I'm going to think of is how far is it to the quarry? So we're going to go into our, you know, your MapQuest or Google Maps of your choice. Here we're closest to Grove, Stone, and Sand. See where we're at. Okay, so we're 10 minutes from there. All right, so realistically, in this area, a haul bill on a truck this size can run anywhere from $80 to $100, you know, if you're within that time frame of the quarry. Okay, so we're not high up in a mountain, and so we're going to be kind of toward that lower end. So now your material cost is about, let's say the average is $20 a ton. Okay, and now there's material around here from $15 a ton to $25 a ton. So it depends on which quarries you're coming from. So for the sake of this video, we're going to do $20 a ton. Okay, I carry 8 tons at a time legally. So that's 160. Let's say worst case scenario, add $100. Okay, that's 260 per load. Okay, so we're going to go back to our calendar. And I know this is the monotonous part, but you know, for those of you who are just starting out, this may, you know, help you or be interesting. Okay, so 260 per 8-ton load. All right, now how many loads are we going to put down on this? So we had 501 feet. All right, 8 tons. You know, now you've got to learn your quarries because different mixtures come out certain thicknesses. You know, the road bond over here, typically 8 tons will go about 60 feet, 3 inches thick. So, and since the average is 3 inches thick of how much we're going to put on this driveway, excuse me. All right, so we're going to divide that by, so 501 feet divided by 60 feet is 8.35. So 8.35 times our 260. So we need to charge our customer $2,171 for the material and hauling it here. So let's add that in. 2171 for, let's say crusher run, because that's the most common term, crusher run. In North Carolina, it's ABC, road bond, but we're going to use crush and run, what have you. All right. Now here's the tricky part, you know, and it comes down to you guys, your preference as far as always smile and wave at the public. They like that and they'll remember you. How much are you going to charge to grade this driveway? It's 500 feet. You know, you've got to price these things to, you know, do it right, do it legal. You'll be happier. Honestly, 150 bucks an hour, you know, and, you know, not taking your fuel off, you know, I have found if you do 150 bucks an hour, just if you took taxes right off the top, you're at 100 bucks an hour. Okay. Granted, you know, you take all your, by the time you take all of your expenses off and then you take 30% off, depending on your tax bracket, you know, you're going to be down there making, you know, $50 to $60 an hour. That's just a rough estimate. When you got a dump truck running, you got a tractor running, you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 tires pounding the ground, you know, and burning fuel through all of these pieces of equipment, you know, that does not sound like a lot of money. You know, it's going to start really getting burned up quickly. So I would say, you know, you load your equipment an hour in the morning and then you load out in the evening. I'd say give yourself for this, if you're a beginner, you know, it's going to take you some time to get used to this, you know, just figure a half day minimum. Okay, 600 bucks. 600 bucks minimum. Some people will be like, well, that's way too much. Well, you know, you're not forcing anybody to pay you. Okay, this is just numbers that worked for me. They got me to where I'm at now. You know, you're not, you know, you've been invited to look at a job and you're going to give them a price for how much you need to make. Joe over here may not need to make that much and his price may seem better, but then there's a chance that after Joe leaves, this customer's going to have to call you because Joe did a shitty job. So 600. So where are we at, guys? We got 600 plus 2171. All right, we're at 2771. I feel like that's a pretty good calculation. I think that's realistic. I think it's enough of a budget to where I can do this customer a really good job. You know, we're going to pitch it to them, you know, and this is by far not the most I've ever charged for a 500-foot driveway at all. You know, this driveway's not in bad shape at all, but come spring rains, this road is going to turn nasty fairly quickly, I think. If they ask me, you know, how much time do you think we've got on this road? I'm going to say, well, it's in good shape now, but it does have water running down it. This, you know, 2771 could easily double if a person lets it go much longer. So, you know, go get your wheel, you know, get your feet in the length of your driveway, you know, and now these numbers are based on how wide it's going to come out of my truck. My truck is 8 feet wide, but by the time it spreads and drops out and hits the ground, we're at about a 9-foot path of material. Excuse me. So that's it in a nutshell. You know, we've got a 501-foot driveway. This is going to include grading, fresh material, and I'm going to just compact it with the truck. This isn't a situation where I think a roller is going to be super, super necessary. You know, but if you rent a roller, you know, by the time you pick it up, rent it, haul it back, you know, around here, it's about $350 to $450, depending on how far out you've got to haul it. So those are some real numbers. I'm going to throw these numbers at the customer. I'll let you guys know if we get the job or if, you know, the customer's reaction. Now in this bidding process, you know, there's going to be people that just freak out on you. You know, it's almost funny because to some people, hold on, I need coffee. There we go. Okay, so prepare yourself getting into this business, and you know, you're going to learn to fine-tune your bidding process based on all these factors we've went over. I'm going to make more videos. I'm going to try every job I do to do this bidding process for you guys. I didn't have anybody to mentor me, and I really wish that I had. Even if it was somebody to say, well, I'm not going to give you my exact numbers, but I'm going to give you a realistic range, okay? You know, now when you're starting out, you know, stay toward that bottom range. Get your name out there, you know, build a name for yourself. Get a good name for yourself. Do good work, be fair with people, and go the extra mile. Do a little something extra for them at, you know, some point during that project. So let's recap. We've just, you know, we walked the road. We had one spot where we crossed under it. There was going to be an obstruction, going to add a little bit of time. But we don't have more than a half day of actual work on site. Getting to, you know, we've gotten our material costs, you know, the material costs we've built in our hauling time and hauling costs. Okay, now this is a single axle, 8 tons at a time. If you have a tandem or a tri-axle, you know, more than likely you're not just getting started in this business. More than likely you've been in it. But for these prices that I'm going to be helping you guys with, it's going to be based on the single axles. It's going to be based on smaller equipment, startup type stuff. And if there's something, you know, that I've missed, that I haven't figured in, you know, drop it in the comments for me. If you're somebody who's experienced and you're watching these videos, you know, share your knowledge. You know, there's a lot of young guys out there, you know, that are going to be taking our place one day. And what we teach them, hopefully it'll stick. Hopefully we can build a world where contractors are honest and do good work. So, you know, that's where we're at on this one. So let's drop the price and see if we get it. We'll see you guys on the next one.